Ani, Kenny Pheasant again with our show Endaying. And this one here is going to be a little different than the other ones. Okay, we'll have a little bit of fun with this one, have a little laughter. And, years ago they did the jokes about Jeff Foxworthy, you're a redneck if. Well, I wrote jokes along that line. You're an Indian if you do these things or say these things. I wrote them for Language Camp a few years ago. So here we go again. All right. Here we go. You're an Indian if you have more casino cards in your possession than credit cards. You're an Indian when you hear the word baloney. It does not mean that something is false, but it's just very good food. Okay? You're an Indian when you come to language camp. You meet your fathers, uncles, first and second cousins, brothers, sisters, and their mother's first cousins, children, and grandchildren's friends. That's what happens at language camp. Okay? You're an Indian if you borrow your best friend's sister-in-law's first cousin's brother's uncle's pickup to come to language camp. Okay? You're an Indian if you have to date someone from a different state because you're related to everybody in yours. You're an Indian if you've been married and divorced 3 times and you still have the same in-laws. All right. You're an Indian when the whole class gets in trouble. Your child is the one that gets the blame and gets sent down to the principal's office. Okay. You're an Indian when someone asks you for directions. You use your lips. Ude. Ude. You're an Indian if you use a screwdriver to start your car and to open your trunk. You're an Indian if you have an air-conditioned car and it's just that the window won't roll all the way back up, the floorboard has holes in it, and the back door won't shut tight. That's your air-conditioned car. Okay, here's another one. I've done this one. You're an Indian when you're at a turn lane and you manually use the turn signal. You've done it too. I know you have. All right. You're an Indian if you use a rag as a gas cap for your car. You're an Indian when the jumper cables are the most used tool in your car. You're an Indian when jumper cables are gifts you give at Christmas, birthdays, anniversaries, and graduations. Good gifts. I got 2 of them. Okay? You're an Indian if you're at a giveaway ceremony and the jumper cables are the first to go. That's happened. I've been there. You're an Indian if your lawn furniture is the furniture you used to have in your house. You're an Indian if you live in a mobile home and your backyard is filled with cars that aren't. You're an Indian if your kids' cereal bowls have the words parquet, margarine written on them. Okay? You're an Indian. Now, okay, here's the story. Okay? I wrote this. This actually happened to me. I went to a funeral, and of course they have a feast after the funeral. And they, so this guy, he was handing out fry bread. But as he was doing it, he had one of the fry breads in his mouth. Okay? So I couldn't resist. I wrote a joke. Okay? You're an Indian if you can still speak with one whole fry bread in your mouth. Here's the other part. You know you're an Indian if you still understand the one speaking with the fry bread in his mouth. Okay, here's one. All right, listen up. Okay, you know you're an Indian if you know more Spanish than your own language. Ah, caught you on that one. Okay, here's another one. You know you're an Indian if you have an Indian language dictionary and you don't know how to use it. All right. You know you're an Indian if the only 4 words you know in your language are bonjour, miigwech, zitagan, and bogut. Bogut is something I've never had to teach here in Michigan. Everybody knew bogut. Okay. And last but not least, you know you're an Indian if you know that the Little River Band is not from Australia, but from Manistee, Michigan. Anyways, there you go with the little jokes, okay? And I thought I'd change it up a little bit this time. I hope you enjoy them. If you want us to tell your jokes, clean ones, okay, send them to us. This is Kenny Pheasant signing off again from our show Endaying, Miigwech, Wingezik, Sana.